Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Jackie.
Welcome to the Self-Sufficient Mercantile.
Nothing fancy.
Just keeping it simple.
Today we're going to be talking about making your own potting soil, so stick around. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. So today I'm going to be talking about making your own potting soil. And the reason I'm doing this is because I usually buy my potting soil in bags, and I've done that this year. But there's a particular brand that I tried this year that I'm a little disappointed in. So I'm going to be seeding my squash, my cucumbers, melons, things like that. And I don't want to use that mix, so I'm going to make my own. So there's a few components that you want to do if you're going to do this. First is peat moss. Now I bought this in a bale, and I did take it out of the bale and kind of loosened it up. And it is dry. I pre-moistened it a little bit, but it's going to take a lot to get it moist. So I'm just going to leave it in this dry form right now. So this is kind of the base. Then I'll be adding perlite. I'll be adding compost. And then a couple different fertilizers and amendments that I'll talk to you guys about when I get there. So first, let's do the peat moss. Just going to use a big container, and I'm going to use a scoop that I've used many times before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll double that, so I'll do 8 scoops of this. And they don't have to be perfect. You know, if you get them over full or under full, that's no big deal. So just put that in there. And then anything like this, big sticks or anything, this is not going to work in my flats very well. So if you see those, just throw them out. And then kind of go through and break up any big clods. And again, like I said, this is going to be a little bit dry. But when we get to the other components and we get everything mixed in, then what we'll do is moisten it before we put it into flats and actually use it. Okay, so I've got my 8 scoops of the peat moss there. Now, this is something I'm going to be using. I'm not going to put this on the table because it's too heavy. But this is bumper crop. It's a really nice quality compost. So you don't have to use this, but any good quality compost is what you're going to want to use. So I'm going to do, so I've got 8 scoops in there. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I might do 4 scoops, so that'll be half the amount of peat moss. And then the other thing I'm going to do, which we've used before, is perlite. Some people use perlite, some people use vermiculite. I prefer perlite. I don't know, I'm just used to it. That's what I usually use. So I'm going to do 4 of these also. So there's 1, 3. Okay, there's 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up because I want to see if I like the consistency of it. And that's the thing, you know, there are exact formulas out there. This is kind of a general one that I follow. But once I get it mixed up, I'll be able to see, do I like the consistency? Is there anything else? You know, should I add more compost? Does it need more peat? You know, those kinds of things. So far, it's looking really good. Now, for those of you that don't know our background, we used to have a CSA farm in Montana, and we did a market farm too. So first we started out just bringing extra produce to the farmers markets. And then we built it up into a community-supported agriculture farm, which is like a subscription type farm. So mixing soil was a big deal for us. You know, every year we did it in our greenhouses, and we didn't do it by hand because we had to do so much. So we had a cement mixer that we'd put all this in, and it mixed it really well and quickly. So that's kind of a little bit about our background. And that was fun. Now we're back in Southern California, and we obviously don't have the land to do a farm like we used to. So now we just concentrate on doing our own stuff, and then hopefully helping you out there grow your gardens. And so if you have any questions about anything, we'd love to hear from you. You can just post those down below. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And you can see, even though the peat moss was dry, the compost has added a lot of moisture to it. And that's, see, I'm kind of grabbing it and squeezing it, and then it's breaking apart. So that's what I want. The thing with the potting mix that I used earlier was very heavy, and roots do need structure, they need soil, but they need a lot of air around the roots. If it's just too heavy and soggy, the roots are just gonna not grow very slowly, or even rot off, and you don't want that. So you want something nice and fluffy. Okay, so now that I have this base, I'm gonna add a couple of other things. First one is green sand. This is a good source of minerals. It's also a really good soil conditioner. So if you happen to have really heavy clay soil, this is a good amendment for you. It's good in potting mixes because it does kind of retain a little bit of moisture, and it adds the minerals that you need. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this starter mix. This is a very low fertilizer, 333, so it's nothing crazy. It's not going to burn your plants, but it's going to give them a little something to work from, because this mix that we're making, it does have compost, but the base, the peat and the perlite really have no nutrient in it. So you want to give them some nutrient to get going. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of this, and then we'll mix it in. And I don't have me, I don't have specific numbers for you. I kind of eyeball it. So I'm just going to do 1 scoop of the green sand. And I'll do a couple scoops of this. This is that starter mix. And these are the down-to-earth fertilizers, which I really like. And if you're local, you can always pick these up at our shop. There's a link down below. So I'm just going to mix this up. And then I'm just going to sprinkle it in here. What I'm trying to do is just kind of cover the top with a nice coat. And that's probably plenty. And I do have some left over, but I don't want to overdo it. So then I'm just going to mix this up. We'll take a look at it. Again, if you see any big sticks or big clumps of, bark or something, just pull those out. Unless you're putting them into big pots, then that's fine. But I'm going to do them into little 6-packs because I'm going to be seeding some stuff. Yeah, that looks really nice. That's great. So you guys can see, it's really not that difficult to make your own potting mixes. Very simple. With just a few key ingredients, you can have this. So I will moisten this just a little bit before I plant my seeds, and then we'll be good to go. So anyway, thank you for joining us today. I hope you learned something. I hope this was helpful. If you want to see more gardening videos, be sure you subscribe. Again, leave any comments below for us. And happy gardening. We'll see you next time.